Hi, welcome to the Corner of Knit and Tea, episode 506. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Blue Sky. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is where this episode and every episode show notes will be. And I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea, where I sell my handspun yarns and knitting patterns. Hi, how are you? I hope that you are doing well. It is Monday, January 27th, and it is up in the 40s this week, and we are enjoying the relative warmth in the weather here in Kansas City, or just outside Kansas City. The snow is almost melted. I can see most of my yard, so just a few patches on the driveway that are still a little icy, but I am enjoying the sunshine and not feeling my face freeze when I walk outside. So I hope that you are doing well. My weekend was full of crafty activity, and while I feel like I always could have done more, I have lots of nice things to show you today. I have two finished objects. I have a little bit of spinning, a little bit of embroidery, some knitting, a new knitting project that I'm about to undertake. So let's get started. Today I am drinking Valentine's tea. It is from Simpsons and Vale, which, I'll open that. It's a little hard to see because of the bag, but it's Simpson and Vale, which is a tea and coffee company in Connecticut. And I ordered their Valentine's blend quite a while ago. It is a black tea with cacao nibs, and then it's got chocolate pieces and a little bit of rose and, hibiscus and raspberry. And it is absolutely delicious. And I am drinking it today in, I believe this is a Greenwood pottery mug. And I got it when I was at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and it's my lovely little alpaca, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. So I am drinking Valentine's tea today because I feel like Valentine's Day is going to be here before we know it. I feel like January has simultaneously been 6 months long, and I can't believe it's almost over. Between the cold weather and everything that's been going on, the fires, the political scene, everything, it feels like the month has taken forever, and I can't believe it's going to be February this weekend. So that is what I'm drinking today and enjoying. So let's start with the knits, as I always do. I have one finished object to share with you today, and these are my dad's socks. So last week I had one done, and then the second one I had started and just done the top, but I have 1 and 2 now. So these are the barley socks. Sorry, it's the barley hat, it's the rye socks. Both have similar motifs, which is they're primarily stockinette, and then they have kind of an accent panel of garter stitch. So that is, the socks are available in size from newborn all the way through to adult. I think it's got newborn, toddler, toddler, child, adult, small, medium, and large. There are 6 or 7 sizes. Tin Can Knits does that with a lot of their patterns, and their sweaters have even more sizes because they skip, I think, usually like 3 to 4 inches in between sizes, but with socks there are just a few fewer. But it is a basic sock. It is meant to be knit in worsted weight, which is what I have done, although there is a rye light, which can be knit in sock yarn, basically same pattern. So it is a basic sock pattern that leads you through a 1x1 ribbed cuff, a leg with a featured garter stitch panel, a slip stitch heel flap and gusset, and then all the way down to a somewhat rounded toe. And I knit these socks in, and I brought the label this time. This is Barocco Comfort. It is a worsted weight, and it is completely made out of nylon and acrylic. It is 50% superfine nylon, 50% superfine acrylic. That is because my dad is allergic to wool, and I have tried different wools with him, and they have never really worked. So we settled on Barocco Comfort. I knit him a pair of Barocco Comfort socks in their sock yarn several years ago, and he really liked them. But this time he asked for thicker socks. He wears them to bed because his feet get cold now a lot more, and he asked for really long cuffs. So that is what I have done. These are done, and I hope I'm going to get to send them to my parents for Valentine's Day, which brings me to my cast on, which I'll show you, or the project I'm about to cast on in a minute, which is socks for my mom. So making her a pair. She requested a pair as well, and my hope is that if I start them tonight, that I can finish them in time to send these off and get them there for Valentine's Day. So this one is done. It was a new cast on in January because it was what my dad asked for when I was out there for the holidays, but I am also continuing to work on works in progress, although I guess I don't have a lot of things to show you like that today. So my second knitting project is a project that I have been working on this month for a knit along. It is Stephanie Jappel's turtleneck tube vest, and it can be worn kind of as a halter top or as a slip over other things. The original pattern, it came from her Fitted Knits book a while ago, which was released I think in 2007, 2008, something like that, and was basically a kind of fitted mock turtleneck tank or halter top, and more recently she's released a version with quite a few more sizes, and also she wears it a little bit looser, almost as a vest over a top underneath, and so it can be worn either way depending on how you want to knit it, depending on the sizing, and so I have been taking part in the knit along this month. Part of the reason I have enjoyed that is because I tech edited the pattern, and as she re-released the pattern, she knit her samples in my friend Christine's yarn. So my friend Christine is the Treasure Goddess, and we are knitting this one in her Yak Silk DK, which is absolutely lovely. It is 60% Super Rush Merino, 20% Yak, 20% Silk, a DK weight 231 yards to 100 grams. And as I have said multiple times, one of the nice things about this top is that because it has no sleeves, it is going to be quicker to knit and requires, excuse me, my nose is a little runny, requires a little bit less yarn to knit. So I made some good progress on this week. If you remember, last week I showed you I had finished the turtleneck, the mock turtleneck top, and then I had knit down and joined in the round, and now I have probably about 6 inches, 7 inches on the body. So I think I'm about halfway done on the body. I have tried it on. It fits really nicely, and I'm really enjoying this knit. I am alternating rounds, just as I often do with indie dyed yarn, to make sure that I don't have any pooling or anything, but this is just a really lovely emerald green, and it is a semi-solid, so there is a little variation, and I absolutely love that. I think it's going to be great. I love Christine's jewel tones. She has a number of tones, and the Yak Silk base, it's got some mixed merino in there, so it's darker. It takes the yarn kind of more intensely and makes it a little bit moodier, so I really like that. My hope is that maybe I can finish this by this weekend. It won't be quite the end of January, but I hope. I have gotten some good work in on it this week, and I think I'm about halfway done with the body, so I have several more inches in stockinette, and then I will do some ribbing down at the bottom. So again, that is the turtleneck tube vest by Stephanie Jappel, knitting in the Treasure Goddess Yak Silk DK yarn. So that brings me to one other project that I'm going to be casting on. I still am on a crusade, I guess not a crusade, but I'm still on a mission to finish some UFOs. So technically nothing that I'm showing you today was a UFO holdover from last year. I did finish the gradient socks a couple weeks ago, and that was a holdover from last year and had been on the needles for a really long time. The other one that I'm trying to finish is my hipster top, which is a pattern by Joji Locatelli, and I am getting pretty close on that one as well. I don't know if I'll finish it this week because I kind of want to finish this one, but my plan is those are my two that I'm working on, and I'm going to cast on one more pair of socks for my mom, and then I'm going to pick up that blanket for my niece. So my plan for throughout February is still to mostly work on works in progress and try and finish things on needles. And actually I found a project on the needles the other day that I know I'm going to rip, so I think I'm going to do that later this afternoon, reclaim the needles, reclaim the stitch markers, and put the yarn back in stash. So I have been doing a bit of tidying this month and cleaning. It started with, I can't remember if I discussed it on here, it started with a video by Just Get It Done Quilts, who is Karen Brown, and she does a decluttering exercise for the entire month of January, and she has you do about 10 or 15 minutes a day, and then reward yourself with something fun, like sewing. But I have been trying to sort of apply that decluttering exercise to my crafty area and then also my room and closet. And so I have gone through and removed a lot of trash. I have gone through a bunch of my books and given a bunch of those away. I've gone through a bunch of my knitting and crafting tools and notions and sorted through them and held aside some that I will pass along to my friend who lost her house in a fire. I have a bag of things to pass along at the Quilt Guild this month, where I'm just going to take a bunch of stuff that came out of my sewing and knitting notions and I'm going to put it on a free table for anyone to take. What else have I done? I went through my closet and cleaned out everything that I don't wear, and I am almost done cleaning out my dresser of all the things that are worn out or that I don't wear very often, or just getting rid of things that I don't think I need anymore. So I've taken a few bags to Goodwill, I've taken a few bags out to the trash, some bags to recycling, and I have shredded like the last year's worth of documents that I don't think I need anymore. I'm not talking tax documents, I'm talking bills and just various things that have come in. And so I feel like this month I have really made an effort to sort of get myself cleaned up and ready to face the year, which has been a really nice effort. I don't know exactly why I got on that, but so this coming month is going to be very much more about working through my stash and working through some projects that are in progress. And I think March and April are going to be very charity knit focused. So I think that's how I'm shaping up for the next few months, but I'll have more to talk to you about that. So let me go back to knitting. I don't remember why I got off on that particular tangent, but I need to knit a pair of socks for my mom. She has very small feet, they're size 5, and so this shouldn't take me that long. My hope is that I'm going to cast on this evening, and my hope is that I will have them done in the next 2 weeks so I can mail them to my parents as Valentine's Day gifts. And I think I should be able to do that. I have some activities coming up in the next couple weekends. I will talk about that at the end, but I think I should be able to knit a pair of socks in the next couple weeks. So this is yarn that I went and found in my stash. It is absolutely beautiful, and it was already caked up. I believe the tag is not in the middle of here. It fell out at some point. I believe that this is a skein of Moon Rover yarns. She used to dye beautiful yarns, and she also used to do rollags that were absolutely stunning. And she stopped a while ago. I can't remember whether she went back to school or did like a changing career, but she had some lovely yarns, and this one was caked up for another project, and I just decided it's perfect, it's lovely, it's light, it will be fun, and so I am going to knit my mom a pair of socks. I have picked out a pattern, but I don't remember what the pattern is called. So, oh, yes, I do. It's Hocus Pocus Socks, and it is by, I think it's by Kitchen Sink Studio, but I can't remember. I will put all the information in the show notes, which are at thecornerofknitandtea.com. And basically, it is a pretty plain sock, but it has a cable panel that runs down one side of the sock. And so the socks are mirror images. The cable panel kind of runs towards the outside of the foot. And so I thought that would add a little bit of interest, but not make me entirely crazy trying to knit it. So that is what I plan to start tonight, and hopefully by next week I will have a finished sock to show you. But I'm really excited about that. So I will talk to you for 2 seconds about spinning, and that will also bring me to what I'm doing in the next couple weekends. So I did finish spinning my singles this week, which means I just need to do some plying. And this is fiber from Treasure Goddess Yarns. It was Tarhi, and it's in just the semi-solid red colorway, and it's really absolutely lovely. It's been a mood booster and a bit of bright color on gray days, although I have to say that it has been getting warmer and sunnier the last few days. So I now have my 2 bobbins done, and it is time to ply them. My hope is that I will do this week and get these up in the shop. I do have another spin picked out. However, I'm not going to start it right away because my next 2 weekends are going to be very spinny. So, again, this is going to be kind of a Treasure Goddess episode. I promise I do use other things, and she does not pay me, and I do not receive any deals for talking up her stuff, but I just absolutely love her stuff. She is hosting a local to me spinning retreat, so it's hosted here in Overland Park, Kansas, which is just outside of Kansas City. It's a suburb of Kansas City. And she is hosting a silk spinning retreat on Friday the 7th and Saturday the 8th. And I will say there are a couple spots still left if you want to get in. It's a 2-day workshop, and there is a hotel, and you can stay overnight in the hotel. And on Friday night, at least, there's going to be she mentioned a pajama party and champagne and chocolate. Anyway, it is going to be kind of a luxury retreat weekend because we're going to be spinning silk and silk blends. And it is Treasure Goddess, who is Christine Long Dirks. Is that... her last name's hyphenated and I never remember which one is first, but I think it's Christine Long Dirks. And then Terry Plemmel, who is Fibertarian. She is also a local spinner in the area. And then there is a third spinner by the name of Megan, and I cannot remember her last name, and she is also going to be teaching spinning. And so it is 2 days of learning to spin with silk and silk blends. There's a goodie bag, and it's supposed to be a super fun time. And last year when Wes was doing all his traveling for runs and various other things, he said, you should sign up for some retreats. And so I signed up for a retreat. So the exciting thing is that there was also an optional dye day, which is Christine lives right near me. Actually, she's very close to me, just a couple miles up the road. And she has a big red barn on her property, which is where she dyes all of her yarn and fiber. And as an optional add-on to the retreat, you could add on a Saturday morning in her dye studio to dye some silk and silk blends. And so this coming Saturday, February 1st, I am going to her house to dye some silk and silk blends. And then the following weekend, I'll be in the retreat. So I'm trying to keep my bobbins clear on my wheel because we're going to spin lots of samples and learn how to do lots of things. And so I will probably not start spinning another spin for the shop and on my wheel until after that, because like I said, the next 2 weeks are going to be busy with spinning and spinny things. Excuse me. So I will ply this up and probably show you next Monday, and it will go up in the shop at some point in the next week or so. But I'm going to take a brief hiatus on spinning so I can go to a spinning retreat and learn all the things and then come home and spin more lovely things. So that is 2 of my 4 crafts. I have a very, very brief embroidery update, and that is that I have started on the 4th stocking. So let me pull this out so you can see this a little bit easier. So this is the W stocking. That is for my husband, Wes. If you've been following me all month, I have been working on embroidered Christmas stockings. I decided our stockings needed some embroidery to pep them up, and I decided that I would do it this year rather than waiting until December when I pull them out again. So I am just about finished. Like I said, I started on the W this weekend, and my plan is to hopefully finish this up this week and then put these away, and they will be a lovely surprise / reminder to myself when I pull them out in December. Just as a quick refresh, because I haven't talked about it in a couple weeks, basically what I'm doing is I am using DMC floss. In this case, I'm using a really dark green that I bought at my local Joann's, and I'm very sad they're going out of business, but I bought at my local Joann's. And then what I did is I printed out I used whatever font I wanted, and I printed out letters in a size with which I wanted to embroider them with. And then the part that was not as successful as I wanted it to be was I puffy painted over that, hoping to create kind of an embossed raised level so that when I embroidered, I'd get a little bit of that. And I did get a little bit of that. Unfortunately, the puffy paint kind of soaked into the paper a little bit more than I anticipated, but I am still using these letters printed on just regular typing paper with puffy paint as a guide and kind of embroidering around them, and so they are creating some really nice letters that I'm enjoying in a font that I am liking. So like I said, my hope is that I will finish this one this week, and then I will pack those away and bring them back out in December to hang them on my mantle. I will take a finished photo of all of them when I am done, so I will share all 4 of them, but it's very exciting to get kind of towards the end of this project. This was another kind of spur of the moment when inspiration struck project, but I'm really happy with the way it's been coming out. So that is what I've got for you there. So the final thing that I wanted to show you is quilting. I finished another quilt this weekend, and I am super happy with this one. I showed you this one a while ago, actually. Before I finished my last quilt, I had started a baby quilt. And this one started because I picked up a 3-yard pack of fiber, a 3-yard pack of fabric when I was waiting for my husband to finish a bike race for several hours in Iowa, and I found a lovely fabric store and found kind of a 3-pack. It was 3 separate yards, three patterns, 1 yard each, of fabrics that looked like they went together really well. It was kind of a blend of Andover and a few other fabrics. And they were kind of remnants put together on sale, and they were perfect for a baby quilt because my favorite part of it was that they had this really sweet jungle print in it. And I worked on that, and then I had bought 2 extra yards of fabric to kind of add some extra color in, add some borders, and then I used the rest of that on the backing of the quilt. And I had actually done all of that, but I got a wild hair to start a new quilt, and so I started the new quilt without finishing the old one. Well, now when I finished the last one, I wanted to go back to the previous one and make sure that I quilted it and finished it, and I am donating both of these quilts to the wildfire donations for Los Angeles. So I really wanted to finish this up because many of the places accepting quilt donations have asked that they be postmarked by the 1st of February. So this weekend I finished the other quilt. On this one I opted to do quite a bit less quilting. My last one I showed you that I did kind of a meandering pattern, and that was free motion quilting. It took a lot of thread and a lot of time. And it also made the quilt just a little bit stiffer because it was a lot of dense quilting. And if you want a drapier quilt, or you want to finish your quilt faster, or you just want to do less quilting on it, that will make it kind of squishier and leave a little bit more open space. So on this one, I followed a tutorial from Krista Quilts, who is Krista Watson. She is going through, along with a book that she published, she's going through 100 free motion quilt designs, and she is producing little YouTube videos, and I think she's putting them together in like pairs or trios, kind of as the stitches relate to each other. And so this one was called Wavy Lines, and what I decided to do was quilt my quilt with vertical wavy lines. So this is the finished quilt right here. So this was the jungle pattern that I really, really, really liked. I just love all those animals and all the colors. And it came with this yellow, and it came with this one, which also has hearts on it. So those were the 3 that came together. And then I also picked up a little bit of this one, which is just an argyle print. And then I picked up this blue, which I have used for the binding. I'll show you the back. I've used more there. So that is kind of what I did. And then I'm going to try and turn this so on the angle so you can see. I did wavy lines. So basically I looked at the vertical lines in the quilt, and I kind of did kind of serpentine wavy lines. I just guided it myself under the walking foot, and so they're each a few inches apart, and some of them overlap, but it just gives a really nice kind of wavy quilted lines. And then I washed this, so now it's all crinkly and lovely because it's been through the washer and the dryer. So that is kind of the quilt. I used the blue for the binding, and I actually machine bound this one again and used a zigzag stitch, so you can see my yellow zigzag stitch there. I used yellow thread to quilt this one. And then the back is more of the less interesting fabrics. So it's the plaid, and you can see more of my wavy lines here. And then it's also that blue with all those swirls and things on it. And you can see my wavy line quilting there. So that one is done. It's probably about 42 across by 40-ish down. It's slightly wider than it is long, and that's because the way I cut the fabric with the way the patterns went, and that ended up being width of fabric, and so then I just put them all together for length. And it's basically symmetrical. The way here you can see, it's basically symmetrical. So that is another quilt off of the machine. And I'm going to take a break from quilting for just a couple weeks because, like I said, I'm going to be doing some spinny things in the next couple weeks. And then the latter part of the month, I am signed up for a quilting retreat. And I will say that all of these retreats happen to be available in my town. So I am not paying for lodging, which is one of the things that if you're interested in participating in events, it's really nice to look for events that are close to you, regional events or things that are in your own town, because you can save quite a bit by not having to travel to them and also by not having to book accommodations. And the other thing that's kind of fun is the quilting retreat that I'm attending is a Saturday and Sunday, so I don't even need to take time off work, which is really nice because I'm trying to save my vacation because we have some exciting summer plans. So that is what I'm going to be doing this month. So expect more spinny content and more quilty content. And then I will also be, of course, knitting and picking up and hoping to finish some of my UFOs. I do not expect that I'll finish my niece's blanket this month. That is going to be a very long-term project. But I hope to make some headway on it and then continue through this year until that one is done. And I really do want to pick it up next month, and if I can finish everything else, I might also pick up my chicken next month. I haven't decided. I have that built in somewhere this year, because it is a goal to finish that this year. So I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you are enjoying crafting. I think I've been channeling a lot of my nervous, anxious energy and a little bit of my start the year off by cleaning and finishing the things and whatever. And I am appreciating that it is sort of carrying me forward, especially in tumultuous times. So I'll take it for as long as I can get it. I gotta tell you, I've been reading, I've been crafting, I've been trying to stay away from doom scrolling, and I am pleased with the results, that I have more finished things to share with you. So I hope that you have a lovely week ahead. I will see you next week to talk about more crafty endeavors, and I will say, as I always do, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy embroidering, quilting, any kind of crafting, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.